Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Ecommerce Marketing Chats with myself, Charles, and Jimmy. Jimmy, mate, how's it going?
Yeah, good. I'm sorry, mate. I'm a little bit late again tonight. The last 2 weeks, the Survivor voting has run a little bit over. So massive Survivor fan, and watched that with my wife. So it unfortunately finishes just after we planned to start recording. So it's just like, Charles, just give me 10 minutes, mate, and I'll be there. So yeah, if anyone wants to nerd out on Survivor chat, hit me up.
Yeah.
I think the world of e-com is a bit like Survivor, survival of the fittest. So
Yeah.
just
Just
watching pretenders drop like flies and the real game players flourish. It's a nice metaphor, I think.
nice. Nice there. You gotta break up the day with a little
Yeah,
bit of light entertainment.
yeah, that's it. And I think this week, Charles, you sent me I haven't tested it out yet. I've seen the interface, but I haven't given it a good whirl. But I saw that you've just kind of released I guess an SEO tool for e-commerce, which I've got my own questions about before I even try it. So I'm keen to hear a little bit more about why you built it, who it would be good for. I kind of got the vibe it was to save a lot of time. So if that was the case, how much time are you saving using tools like this? I'm keen to find out more about that just straight off the bat.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, really, to be honest with you, Jimmy, I built it initially for my own need because I mean, as you know, you've kind of been delving a little bit more into the organic side as well with one of your clients, and it's very time consuming to go through every single page and basically optimize the meta title and the description and a H1 tag. Um, so I just wanted to create a simple tool that I could use, which pulls everything together. So you've got the prompt already built in. You've got when you input the product URL and the keyword that you want to target, it basically populates three suggestions for your SEO title, your meta description, and then your H1. So you can choose between those. You can easily just copy them on the screen, and it also shows you what your current title, description, and H1 is. So you can refer and kind of compare with the newer optimized suggestion. Because to be completely honest, the functionality is out there already for this. The problem is it was just bringing it all together because if you want to look at your current meta title and description, you either need to go into the back end of the individual page in Shopify, or you need to use, I mean, typically I will use like a Chrome extension plugin. So I just wanted something where you could bring it all together easily, try and speed that process up, and try and create basically a simple tool that gives you a properly optimized title, description, and H1 to start with. We may add in some additional functionality, but the first part of the process was let's get a few key elements on the page which make the biggest impact on rankings. And really, your title and your description, especially, that's usually the starting point once you've done your keyword research and you figured out what keyword that you want to target. So that was the premise really behind that, creating that tool. It was really first and foremost for me to use it for me and my clients, but then thought, well, if there's a need from my side, then I'm sure other e-commerce store owners or agency owners that deal with e-commerce stores probably have that same pain and issue as well. So thought let's put something together. And now I'm just putting it out to a closed beta group just to test, give me their opinion on is this useful? Would they is this something that they would be willing to pay a small fee for per month, or is it just a nice to have, which maybe we offer it for free? It really depends on what we get in terms of feedback.
I think you're right. Like, I think the best tools that you create are the ones that you're actually using yourself. I find like I don't have any tools specifically that I've built that I'm offering out to other people at the moment, but something that I am building that other people will potentially be able to use going forward is a place where you can basically hit run and it'll present your Google Ads data in a way that a business may not have visualized before. Definitely would not have visualized this in kind of the Google Ads platform, but it kind of gives, especially for the businesses that have large product SKU, it kind of gives them a really good indication of like, hey, how much money is going into each product, and what percentage of your revenue is that product actually bringing in, and what percentage of the budget's actually being spent on that product. So it kind of gives an analysis based on spend and revenue for individual SKUs, which I find useful because sometimes on the back end of Shopify, people look at their highest selling product and they'll be like, oh, this is the highest selling product. We need to push it more. What they don't realize is they're already pushing it really heavily, and with the amount of ad spend that's going into it, it may not even be profitable. So I think it's important. Shopify is seen as a platform of truth, which I still agree with, but the the part that Shopify is missing is how much you're actually spending on each SKU to get those sales numbers, which can be like a really important piece of the puzzle as well. But back on your tool, Charles, I'm curious to know, like, what was the tech stack to build that, and how did you put it together?
Yeah, so we're mainly using Claude in terms of the kind of AI functionality, um, Bolt.new as well. And there's some database stuff as well. So I'm working with someone else who's actually even more kind of tech savvy in terms of the AI side of things. But yeah, it's a relatively simple interface. I think probably if we do see that there's a product market fit and there is enough demand, that the next step would be to actually build it out as a Shopify app so that you can view
I was
that.
just gonna
Yeah.
say that. I think the simplest functionality would be Shopify app, and then the Shopify app then pulls every collection page that you have, and like it almost is in a table. Like, this is the meta description, and to be honest, a lot of people that do that won't actually have meta descriptions in their collections. And then if there was a button to like, give me three options via AI for this, and it's just like going through it like almost a checklist, or even if you could do it like 20 at a time, and just like check them off, pick them like yes, 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 yes. I'm I'm thinking selfishly from my point of view, because I know I've probably, clients with 300 or 400 collection pages, which is just like, even the tool is great for like, it would definitely speed up what I'm doing at the moment, but I'm probably looking more like, how do I do this in bulk to like
Yeah.
just get that starting piece of meta description there to help along the process. I'm not saying everything has to be perfect on the first one, but I think something there is better than nothing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, like I said, you can, with what we've created, you can do all of that using the tools out there. The problem is most people don't know, one, what prompts to use, and two, it's just bringing them all together. It's like, okay, so what AI tool do I need to use? What prompt gives me the best optimized result? What Chrome extension do I need to use to view the current title and description? So we're trying to I think simplicity is key with these things.
Definitely.
Um, and we want to make it as easy as possible, whether you're a complete novice or beginner when it comes to SEO, or whether you're an agency that's got hundreds of e-commerce clients and you want to use that internally. We want to be able to offer that functionality. So, but you're
Yeah.
right, I do think that having something where you can bulk edit the descriptions and the titles would certainly be a nice thing to have. Yeah, I think, like I said, this is kind of very early stages, version one.
Yeah, you got to start
And
somewhere. I think it's an awesome
yeah,
place to start. And from what I saw on the interface, I think I, just tested what it pumped out for one of them. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Like I can use a few things here. It's just in the back of my head. It's like, okay, now I have to do this for like 300 collection
Yeah,
pages.
yeah, yeah. It's still going to take you a bloody long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it's
But
a
yeah,
good
no,
point.
it's definitely, it's especially for people that are like, oh, I don't know what to put here, and especially for low SKU businesses. Like I'm looking at it from a high SKU clients, but if you've got like 25 to 50 products and you kind of focus on one niche, like that tool's perfect. You don't need a bulk editor because it's only going to take you X amount of time to do every product that you have on your store anyway. So,
Yeah. And
um,
we do need to add in something we're working on is adding in the functionality for optimizing collection pages. Because at the moment we've only got it for product pages. And there is
gotcha.
a slight, when I'm optimizing collections versus products, there's slight variations in terms of what I like to put in there.
Mhm.
Um, so that's something we're going to work on. I think it might just be literally a drop down, which is like which page do you want to optimize, product
Hey,
or collection, and then going from there. So yeah, excited to kind of get. I've got I think seven or eight beta testers at the moment. We're probably trying to get it to about 20, and I think that'll be a decent enough sample size just to give us a good basis to go by. Mixture of e-commerce owners, but also agencies as well that work with e-commerce
yeah,
clients.
you should because I know the tool's free at the minute, but you should put it behind like a sign up wall, so just so everyone that's testing, you've got their details, and then when something launches, you can email them all. Because I noticed when I tried it, like I didn't have to put in any details, like I could just test it straight away for like the early launch. You should just like collect some emails and then use them for when you've got updates and things like that down the track.
Yeah, it could be an option. I mean, all the people that I've reached out to, I kind of pretty much personally know. So it's like I can, but maybe even at some point, add people into a Telegram group. I just didn't want to overcomplicate it because even something that's free, you're still, people get busy at the end of the day, and
Yeah,
like
don't
it's
I know
not
it?
gonna,
Yeah.
it's just because it's priority for me, it's not going to be priority for someone else. So it's wanted to make it as simple as possible just to get a message back, whether I'm contacting them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and that gives me something to go by. So yeah, we'll see what we get from this round of beta testers, and then we'll hopefully from there, if there's if we feel that there's a real need for this, then we'll bring it to market. And I'd like to be able to charge even just a small fee for it on a monthly basis. That would be nice, and then it could be part of the building a kind of. I think these days building like a SaaS product um, should actually be seen as a lead generation like
Yeah,
mechanism
definitely. I
because
mean, there's people buying up SaaSes pretty much for the list, and a tool to add to their current website. I know. I was reading some articles, so actually, this is quite relevant to e-commerce because the guy's Australian based, but he's created pretty much a social media management platform called Pally. So it's Pallyyy. Um, but he like self-coded it himself, like before AI was a thing. So I'm only guessing that it's been supercharged since the AI. But um, oh, I lost my train of thought where I was going with that. But what did you just say before that, Charles?
uh,
Uh,
I was talking about. Yeah, I guess I was. Oh no, I was talking about the fact that it. I think SaaS these days is seen as more of a lead generation tool
oh yeah,
because
yeah,
of the.
yeah. That's where I was.
Yeah,
That's where I was going with that. Sorry. So he bought up a lot of like tools, and then just hosted them on. So he bought the tool, redirected the URL to his like social media management tool. Whether it was like it might have been a tool for measuring Instagram engagement, something like that. So someone that's wanting to measure Instagram engagement, like a social media management tool, might be super relevant to them. So he's been like buying up all these tools, combining them into his software, and you can use a lot of the tools for free on his website too. But he's just getting all that traffic from those tools we're getting, free traffic, redirecting it to his site, and then his site's obviously getting more authority just from the amount of traffic that's coming through, and he's quite reasonably priced compared to kind of other social media management tools that are out there. So yeah, I think if I mean, you only have to look at like mortgage brokers and banks. Like when someone's going for a loan, they want to go on the site. Hey, what can this lender offer me? They use one of the calculator tools. They put in all their situation or whatever, and it'll basically spit out what their potential borrowing capacity is. Like that's a lead generation tool because a lot of the time you have to put in your email to use it. So if you're going through that stage, you're usually a pretty hot prospect for someone that may potentially be needing a loan in the future, or for finding it more and more for e-commerce. A lot more sizing tools are coming out, and softwares are coming out in the sizing space, whether it's virtual or whether it's AR. Like all these tools are starting to come into the sizing space, and yeah, I think tools are, depending on industry you're in, tools are a great way to grow your business. And I'm actually, that data stuff that I was talking about earlier, I'll probably end up using it for the same. I'll use it like, hey, you can have this data, but your software, but one, you're gonna have to, provide an email. And then yeah, it'll basically collate a list of people that are interested in analyzing their Google Ads data. So yeah, I think
Yeah, no, I
tools are a
mean,
great place to start.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I know it was a strategy that Neil Patel, the famous
Mm.
marketer, where I don't know whether he's still doing it, but there was at one point within a 12-month period where he was buying up a number of different SaaS businesses and redirecting it to his main personal brand domain. Um,
The problem with Neil was he bought all the free tools up and then made them paid tools. Everyone got
Yeah,
pissed
yeah, he
off.
did it the opposite. Yeah, yeah. I think for a certain period he kept them as free, and then yeah, once
Yeah.
they got some more traction, he would yeah, classic marketer always wanting
Ugh.
to. But actually, you're right in terms of the tools. I mean, my client in the automobile space, they last year they paid to get this tool built, which effectively allowed you to build your truck and customize it. It was like a 3D animated landing page. And you could select what color for different parts of the truck, and you can purchase within that particular page. And I optimized that page, and that did really, it still does, driving a lot of traffic, ranking for a lot of keywords. And I think simply it was just because it was a valuable tool that people wanted to use, um, which is driving revenue. So, yeah, tools is a great way of driving additional traffic versus just relying on blog content to build additional traffic apart from using your collection and product pages. So,
Yeah, definitely. Makes me feel like we should make a list of tools that we should develop and just put them under the Shopify marketing secrets and have like a whole suite of tools people can use for e-commerce.
yeah, yeah. Well, we need to get going. We build our Shopify. We should build our Shopify site out. We should, if we get popular, maybe we'll sell some merch. If anyone watching it.
Oh man, no, merch is. Oh, I don't know. Apparel's not a game I want to. The only apparel game I would get into is snapback hats, and
Yeah.
I've just got
Yeah.
an affinity for hats. Oh, well, actually, I think I could turn the camera. Hang
Yeah,
on.
you got a lot, haven't
I
you?
got a,
There, I'm
I
always
got a
wearing the
whole wall,
caps.
got a whole wall of them over there. So, an ultrasound. I think there's a big tub of ultrasound gel there. I just bought an ultrasound machine for my bung ankles. So, so, um, but yeah, like I would think about potentially doing a hat at some point. But yeah, in terms of other apparel, I think the returns on sizing is just not a logistics scam I want to get into.
No, no, it's a hard market to crack, that's for sure. Yeah.
What else is news? What else has been happening in client land for you?
So I've been focusing actually, and we've talked behind the scenes. I've been working with one of my SEO clients to help them not only on their SEO but push notifications. And this is
Mm.
something you actually brought to my attention last year, Jimmy. So for those listening in and watching in, Jimmy had told me about push notifications and how he was seeing that they were generating some really good results for some of his clients. And this was around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I kind of quickly installed the software that you need to run these campaigns for one of my clients. We saw some, I was amazed by some of the results. I think within the first, well, it's within 2 weeks, there was like, it went from 0 to 2,000
Mm.
subscribers. They drove around $20,000 additional revenue around that Black Friday, Cyber Monday period. Um, and this year I've kind of continued, most recently decided to continue to help them on an ongoing basis. And I think they're sitting now at around $40,000 in revenue, uh, over 9,000 subscribers. They're averaging 76 subscribers a day, new subscribers a day. So it's a really powerful channel, which, yeah, I owe to Jimmy because I wouldn't have even known about it, and it's still very underutilized at the moment.
Oh, massively,
Yeah,
massively, massively. Especially for businesses that aren't utilizing email. Because if they aren't utilizing email, then they don't have an abandoned cart series. Whereas this push notification can bring back people that have abandoned cart without you having to set up a full-blown email flow. So, but if you've got an email flow, it's just like on top of that, it just compounds. So your brand's everywhere. If they're close to purchasing, but they don't, you're gonna get hit by kind of on a lot of fronts. I think, especially during big sales times, it's important because people are always worried about, oh, I'm sending too many emails. To be honest with everyone, if their inbox looks like my inbox, if you're worried about sending an email every 2 or 3 days, the amount of emails that I've received between the first one that you sent and 2 days later is going to be like 400 or 500 emails. So everyone's of this opinion when they send email. Oh, if I send, you know, 5 emails this week, this person's going to log into their inbox, and I'm going to be the only one that they've received emails from, and there's going to be just 5 emails there, one after the other. I was like, show me an inbox like that, and I might kind of agree with you, but I don't think anybody's inbox looks like that unless it's a brand spanking new email and you're the first company that they've signed up to. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I don't think enough e-commerce businesses touch base with their customers via email anywhere near enough to generate significant revenue from the channel.
Mm. And what I found interesting, I actually had a conversation with the guys that run this notification software, and what they were saying was that a lot of so the customers you get from push notifications, they finding on average aren't the people that are subscribed to your email list. They're actually often new time buyers. So you're actually, it's not like you're trying to squeeze more attention away from email. You're actually generating, more customers and a newer audience. It's a different touch point,
Hmm.
basically, is what they were suggesting.
I don't know, because I mean, one, how do they know that? Because you don't actually get the email of the person that's signing up via push notification. So unless they purchase, then they wouldn't know. And I can tell you now, in the case of my clients, it's not really the case. So the ones that have purchased through PushOut, or any push notification software that you're using, typically if they purchased before, which the majority have, they're already on our email list. So I don't know where they'd be getting that data. They'd have to be first-time customers from push notifications.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's what they were suggesting. It's the first time cut, so it's they're not also customers that have previously purchased. They're
mm,
often new customers. Yeah.
yeah, I'd have to check. I'd have to check my stats for that, but from what I've seen, majority of the time it's bringing existing customers back and purchasing more, which is what I like about it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I'd have to dive in for first-time customers because yeah, I'm not sure my data would support that. So I have been on a few meetings with various push notification suppliers also, and I mean they're there to promote their software, but some of the things that I hear, I'm like, that's that's I'd love to see the data that you have to support that because everything in my data is suggesting that that's just not true at all.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I've been very impressed with the maybe just because I've come from an organic side where it takes, sometimes it takes a bit longer. Yes, you can
Yeah,
get results with SEO, but it's to get, you know, instant ROI takes time. Traffic
yeah.
rankings, yes, but
Welcome to the paid ads world, Charles.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing because it's easy to then, so yeah,
It's funny though, because I come from that world, and at the moment, I'm getting excited about having an organic piece ranking. I think it's got 25 clicks this week.
nice.
It's growing, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective from paid advertising. I'm looking at like, okay, I built this once, and it's going to become a traffic generator ongoingly that I'm not paying for. That's kind of what I'm excited about. At the same time, you probably would have built hundreds of those, but you haven't been on the side where it's like, hey, if I just do this one thing, it's going to bring in X amount of revenue instantly. So,
Yeah. And what I would say for people, watching is that those numbers are based on a client that already got a sizable amount of traffic and revenue each month. So don't expect that if you're a small e-commerce store that you're going to suddenly make, 40, 50, $60,000 from push notifications right off the bat within the space of, 3, 4 months. The reason that it's done so well is because it's got a solid amount of traffic that are driven to the site every month through organic, through paid campaigns, through social media, because they have a big social media following. So fundamentally, you need the volume of traffic first before you can really squeeze out the most benefit from push notifications and also things like email as well. I would imagine would be
oh,
the same.
definitely for email. Like if
Yeah.
you're just starting out and you're building email, like you need to build a list. And I'd say, like to see real benefits of email, you kind of need like a minimum list of probably 5,000 people. In saying that, like if you've got 1,000, like you should still implement the basics. Whatever your email size list is, you should implement like an abandoned cart series, which means if someone's come to your website, they've made it to the cart, but they haven't completed the purchase, they should be going through an email flow for you to try to bring them back to purchase. So no matter how many subscribers you've got, um, you should implement that. But in saying that, like if you've got, traffic coming in that's 20,000 people a day potentially, that abandoned cart email series is going to be so much more valuable than if you've got 10 people visiting your site a day. So, yeah, I 100% agree with you, Charles, in terms of if you've got a lot of traffic. I mean, if you've got a lot of traffic to the site, there's so many options that you have to implement little things now and see like drastic instant results. If you're just starting out, you want to implement these things, but you're not going to see like if you implement, for example, push notifications, the effectiveness of that is based on how many people are visiting your site because you need them to visit your site to accept the push notifications. So if you hardly have any traffic at all, installing like push notifications isn't going to ramp up your sales dramatically because it relies on you already having traffic and it's leveraging that. Whereas paid doesn't rely on that because you're bringing the traffic there. So, but then if you install push notifications and you're running paid traffic, you're also that paid traffic. If they didn't convert on that visit, you've got the potential to sign them up to a push notification so you can get them in your ecosystem. So all these things work together.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of questions about, what's the best platform to be using. And there's no right or wrong answer. Sure, depending on the product, there probably potentially could be a right answer. Like if it's got a high search intent, then probably Google. But if like no one's ever heard about the product, then you really want it on a display network like Facebook. So there are definitely options for a better network, but yeah, if you can get good traffic to your site, you want to capture that in as many ways as you can.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it becomes easier once you've built up those traffic sources. I think interestingly, actually, I had a conversation with a guy that's kind of just starting out in the e-commerce space at the moment, and he saw a few of my posts about the results I got for push notifications, and instantly he's like, "Oh, that sounds great. Like, how do I do that for my site?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, there's there's certain steps you need to take before you get to that level." And I said, "Look, you need to focus on your traffic sources first."
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I guess one of the things I was going to ask you, Jim, is like, you know, I think we've maybe addressed this before, but when you're starting out your e-commerce store, what would you be focusing on as like the 1, 2 channels that are you think are going to be the best bang for your buck? Maybe your
Yeah,
marketing budget is not that big. Like, where would you be starting out?
yeah. Again, this comes down to the product type. So, I mean, you've seen some massive brands launch overnight from like Facebook, um, Facebook paid ads, and a lot of the drop shippers, their whole business model is finding a product and then running Facebook ads to promote that. At the moment, if you don't have a big budget, you really should get into the storytelling on TikTok. It's the biggest gold mine, I think, at the moment. Um, but
Interesting.
it also takes a little bit to understand the type of content that you need to create. So there's a little bit of barrier to entry. If you're a retail store, so you sell a lot of products, without a doubt, Google. Um, I'm thinking, for example, I started just consulting with a brand that was selling appliances, phones, kind of all this other stuff. Without a doubt, Google is the place to be for those kind of things because there are other people's products and people searching for them. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it depends on the search intent. It depends what kind of product that you've got, and like if you're absolutely shoestring. Like if I was starting an e-commerce business, I'd be starting on TikTok. If I didn't want to invest in paid ads, like TikTok is the place that I'd be starting at the moment.
yeah. I think like I think realistically as well, if you are starting an e-commerce brand, you need some capital really. Like it is a slog. Like you all hear that one success story of someone who, was huge on TikTok, uh, and it, overnight success was able to convert that audience into an e-commerce store that, drove X amount of traffic. But I think you do from what I've seen, most stores grow through ads, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, and then they build from there and they layer on top. I think the one channel which, and I'm maybe biased here, but that I
Hmm.
think is neglected is SEO. Like, if you could just do some SEO when you're running your paid ads at the start, like I find that I speak to brands like 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and they're just starting to do any form of SEO or consider it. And it's like, well, if you'd have just started optimizing some of your pages at least when you were running your Google campaigns, you would have compounded some organic traffic over time and may not be as reliant on ads moving forward.
You know what's funny? So I created this site like maybe 10 years ago. And it was kind of I guess reviewing appliances from multiple different vendors. Anyway, I was going through a list of sites that I was hosting just through the analytics and things like that. And yeah, I jumped on and I was like, oh yeah, I remember building this site. And I had a look in like a few of the articles. The site was getting 2,000 visitors a month, and I was like, what the hell? So just this week, I was like, what's no point in killing that? Like, and 2,000 visitors for the page that it was landing on was like super like high intent transactional value page. So I just reached out to someone that the traffic could be useful for. I'm like, hey, do you want to sponsor this website? It'll cost you X amount per month. This is how many visitors we're getting a month. And they're like, yeah, like that's the exact traffic we're looking for. And we're paying like $2 to $3 a click on Google Ads for the keywords that would be going to that page. So yeah, if we can get like a couple hundred clicks from the traffic search for that thing, it would be well worth the price. I kept it low. I was like, the site's just been sitting here for 10 years. It'd be nice for it to just pay off itself type thing. So, but yeah, there's opportunities everywhere. And it kind of got me thinking, oh my gosh, like if I created a lot of content around different niches like 10 years ago, I could just be living the passive income life at the moment. But yeah, no, there's opportunities everywhere, and that was one for me this week. So yeah, it's a really interesting space. And as you know, I've been a little bit more excited about the organic traffic generation space. The part that I'm not excited about for SEO is like the technical SEO. Like I'm not interested in technical SEO at all. I'm interested in, hey, what content can I create? And um, from the data, I like using the data and having a look at the data that we have in Search Console and thinking, okay, this is what being searched for. If I create an article around these categories and specifically for these search terms that are coming through, I think we can rank it quite well. So that's kind of my game in the SEO space. I like that game, like looking at the data. And again, this helps if you've got a lot of traffic because you'll have more data. I find what some people do, they just write these blog posts that, for example, I saw one the other day. Someone wrote like a blog post on protein, and it was their first blog post, and it was a brand new protein supplement brand, and it was like 200 words just talking about how great they are. Like that's never going to rank ever. Like it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And this is where people get confused. They'll spit out like 10 blogs like that and think, oh, organic traffic is no good. You need to create like a resource that's actually valuable for people. Like if you were searching for something on protein, and your article, if you wouldn't want to find your own article in the Google search, then no one else is going to want to find it either. So the couple of articles that I've written lately, it's basically been everything that I've wanted to know about the thing, and I put that in an article. And then if I found that in the search result, like I'd be really happy to read it, and it would give me the exact information I was looking for that search query. So I think that's where people need to be mindful. It's not just writing content. You have to be kind of really specific on how you approach it. And honestly, you can save yourself a lot of time by just writing about the right things that are going to bring you in some decent traffic. So I've got another one going live, I think next week, Charles. So I'll be able to give you the early stats on that when that one
Nice.
launches. But I'm actually, and you'll probably enjoy reading it too, because it's things that I never knew about this certain thing. I don't want to drop it because I don't want. The reason I don't want to talk about these things specifically is one, I've done this for a client, and two, if other competitors are listening, they're like, oh, that's a really good idea, and they're just going to kind of
More
do their own
competition.
version of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do their own version of the article, and then it'll be kind of ranking against my client. So I'm not telling everyone to keep it all secretive. It's like this is my if it wasn't my client, I'd tell you guys like straight away, like, hey, um, I saw this person write an article here. It was really good. Like if I didn't have any involvement with it, or my client wasn't paying me to generate these results, I would just tell people in a heartbeat. But yeah, so I don't like being vague because I like to give people like actionable insights that they can use. But yeah, the biggest takeaway for organic content is get familiar with Google Search Console. I would say I was talking to someone else about this the other day. It's the most kind of untapped gold mine of information that people are not using. Um, and I find myself using it, even though I'm not in that space, I'm finding it, I'm even using it for my Google Ads clients more and more. It's like, hey, these guys are getting a lot of clicks for this organically, but they're only ranking on page 4 for it. So if I just bump the paid ads so they're on page 1, we should technically get a whole bunch more traffic. And yeah, I kind of avoid doing that for the ones where they're on page one and getting a really good click-through rate already. I'm like, okay, they're doing well for this organically. It's the ones where they're doing well, but they're like on page 4 or 5. Like they're the ones that I want to target with ads and bring them up to that kind of first page and see what kind of traffic comes through from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're right in the respect that, and I've consulted with many brands over the years, and one of the biggest mistakes I see is, like I said, they post content, but there's no strategy behind. Well, there's certainly no SEO strategy behind it. And what Jimmy's talking about is looking into the SEO data and then selecting the right types of keywords that you're going to try and build content around. Because you can even have the best piece of content in the world, but if you still do need to do some optimization work to get it to rank. Yes, it's not as like Google can understand nuances and they can pick up that, like, if you include this word, you also want to rank for this word as well. But equally, there's certain elements on the page that need to be optimized. And I think that's the problem. It's like people have heard that you need to just post content, but they don't realize there needs to be a strategy behind the content that you're posting. And then
I
they
think that'd
wonder
probably
why they
be
posted. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a good training video for us to do, I think, because it's like so important, but you can't really find much information, even on YouTube, of, like people how they're utilizing it. Especially Google Search Console. There might be content on how to use Google Search Console, but they're not showing you how they're using it to create articles or use it for Google Ads or use it for other aspects. Like they're using it for SEO even. Like if you see a search term that's coming through and you see the page it's going to, it's like, oh, it's going to this page and it's this search query, but I don't even have this search query on this page. So I'm gonna put it in there somewhere to make this page as relevant as I possibly can for this keyword that's already bringing in a lot of traffic. So there's so many ways to use it. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for Google Search Console. Massively underutilized.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great tool. It's one of the main, I like to keep things simple these days. My kind of tech stack for SEO is over the years has got kind of smaller and smaller. I like to have Google Search Console. I use something called Mangle Tools as a rank tracker to track the keywords that I want to look at over time, see what keywords I need to improve on that are underperforming.
They had
Um,
a good affiliate program as well, I thought, Charles. So you should get one and put it in the show note
oh, there you
links.
go. There you go. I didn't actually know that.
I think it's 30%. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, if
but
you're using it, because you sent it to me the other day, and that was the first thing I checked for. It's like, oh, wonder if they've got a partner program.
yeah, no, I like their interface. But yeah, I don't tend to, I used to at one point have so many different SEO tools, and I don't think you need many. You need a few good ones. Um, and I would say Google Search Console, as it's free as well, and you're getting real data from Google. You're not using third-party software. Um, I would say that's the best one to start with. Certainly if you're on a budget as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, um, yeah, I've become more and more of an advocate for Search Console. But yeah, if you're a business owner listening to this and you haven't even looked at it and you've had your business for over 2 years, there's gonna probably be a lot of stuff in there that you can really use. So it's definitely worth checking out, and it's kind of reminded me I probably need to um like my higher paying clients. I've got Search Console for all of them, but I kind of want to start bringing it into kind of the lower rank clients as well, just for additional value. I think the easiest way to provide additional value for the service I offer, like you, Charles, is push notifications. One, it's easy to install, it's low cost, and it's high return.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, we're working on adding email marketing to our service as well. But so my situation is I've always been a freelancer, lone operator. slowly realized if I start adding email marketing services, I'm going to need a team because one, the design aspect, like I'm not a designer and I don't even want to try to be. So if I was offering email marketing, one, I need a designer, and two, I'd probably want someone else to manage the weekly campaigns that are going out. I like the flow. I like the flow setup, the technical implementation of that, and monitoring that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like my little wheelhouse, and you're just analyzing the settings and stuff that is in the email marketing platform to make sure that it's being utilized correctly. For example, one of the clients that we're working on, at your checkout page, they can opt in for email marketing at the checkout, like receive ongoing news and promotions or whatever. This particular client in the Shopify settings, you had to opt into it. If you want to grow your email list dramatically, change that from being pre-opt into it. So if they don't want it, they actually have to opt out of it because you'll get a lot of people that just don't unclick it. And then your email list will grow exponentially quicker for people that for those marketing things. Also, double opt-in. Double check that you don't have double opt-in on e-commerce. So double opt-in is where, say they signed up for your newsletter or something like that, what would happen is they would get an email saying, "Oh, please confirm your email," which a very small percentage of people actually do. People will argue the quality of the list is higher, and I'll be like, yeah, but the trade-off for a higher quality list versus um, the list being a tenth of the size that it could potentially be, it's not worth the trade-off for the higher quality, um, in my experience and what I've seen in the data. So yeah, they might argue that, oh, the people that, confirm your email, you're not getting any spam people signing up. Like, you should have systems in place to take people out of your list that aren't engaged over an X amount of period anyway. So even if they're not, they'll come out of your list eventually, but you don't want to miss the chance to even get them in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a good point. Nice, nice tactic. It's these little things, isn't it? These incremental improvements, which people don't realize.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and some businesses, Um, I hate the business. I shouldn't say I hate, but like I can't stand the businesses that come to me that want to scale but they don't want to raise their budget. I'm like, how are you scaling then? You're not scaling. You're optimizing what you've already got. I think I've spoken about this previously because it is a frustration for me. I'll have clients come to me on a set budget and we want to scale. I was like, what does scale mean to you? Does it just mean improving what you've already got? Because that's not scaling, that's optimization. Like two completely different things. To scale, you've basically done the unit economics. You need to keep the cost per acquisition at a certain point or the return on investment at a certain point, and then you scale the budget within and staying within those confines. Like that's scaling. Um, if you've got a set budget and you kind of, oh, we need to scale this. It's like you've got a set budget. So first of all, we're not scaling anything. We're just optimizing what you've already got to try to make it as effective as possible. But you're going to hit a ceiling on that at some point. Um, I mean, for example, let's just say I'd been working with a client for 3 years and they kept the same budget. With Jimmy, we need to keep scaling. I'm like, there's literally nothing that I haven't done over the last 3 years that is just going to turn the needle and scale your brand through the roof. You're in a prime position to scale, but you don't want to raise your budget. So, in saying that too, I also know a lot of people that have been burnt by agencies by scaling their budget, and the agencies are highly incentivized to get you to scale your budget because the retainer costs typically increase as well. So you got to be mindful of that too. There's that consideration as well. I tend to recommend clients scaling when it's still in the budget bracket for the retainer that they're on. I'm like, look, you can scale with me. The retainer won't increase. And I think we should test it. So there's no incentive for me to want them to increase their budget. And in fact, I don't like recommending to clients to increase their budget. It needs to be, I want to present them the data and be like, this is what could potentially happen with an increased budget. I'm not suggesting it or not. You need to go with your finance team, work out your own unit economics, and if it makes sense, let's scale this up.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because yeah, like I said, if you go to a client and you're like, okay, I'm suggesting you increase your budget. Oh, by the way, my retainer is going to be this
Yeah.
much more expensive. It doesn't always sit right.
Yeah, no, I'm
Um,
100%, and I don't like doing that either because yeah, it feels slimy. And then I think I've done it once, but I was so confident that it was going to scale effectively, and it did.
yeah,
Like I was just yeah, some brands it just makes it's like crystal clear. I've got all the data. It's like oh my gosh, you're like touching like 10% of the audience that you could be, and the return on ad spend is through the roof. It's just like you guys would be kind of crazy not to scale this. And this brand had 109 ROAS, like it was massive, and they
huge.
had such a small budget. I was just like, guys, like you could definitely scale this up. So yeah, there are some rare cases where I will push for it. But yeah, and on the agency, I will dive into the agency side a bit at the moment because I put out a proposal this week for a client that I hope I get to work with. It's one Charles that we've discussed on this show previously, and then randomly they reached out to me. They didn't see the video; it was just pure coincidence. But yeah, so I'm kind of down to the final two in the consideration. And for these businesses, like they want me for the Google Ads, but they're worried about having Meta under the same umbrella, so that's consideration for them. So I think they found someone suitable for Meta, but now the consideration is working with me and this Meta ad buyer that they've got now, or working with an agency that does both. Um, so yeah, there's pros and cons to both, and I
Yeah,
think they wanted to work with a Meta kind of team because they thought a team could handle the creative more. To be honest, on the Google side, creative isn't a huge part of it, unless you're pushing for YouTube ads, which I'm not creating for you anyway. You kind of need your own team to build those YouTube ads, and depending on the business, I think we'll do like creative around Black Friday, but usually if they're running Meta, we just take the creative that they're running there and make it viable for the Google network. But yeah, it's something that it's why it's important to have a network because sometimes these bigger clients come to you and they don't they want everything under the same roof. I was like, well, I can't offer that service, but I've worked with this person on multiple other clients in the meta ad buying space, and you can just reach out to them and see if it's a good fit, and we can just come under the same umbrella and work. You get two kind of experienced ad buyers under the same umbrella. Um, but yeah, I can see the pros and cons for the business owner. They want probably one point of contact. But this particular client is coming from an agency that did full service. So I was like, well, if you're not happy there, what makes you think you're going to be happy with another agency that's doing full service? So, yeah,
yeah,
it's one of those things. It's hard. So, um, but like the good thing about me is even though I just do Google Ads, like I do a lot of consulting on e-commerce, outside of Google Ads. So, I can offer them a lot more value than probably a lot of other Google Ads people can just on their own because I'm looking at things like, hey, you don't have push notifications, but you're getting 50,000 people a month to this website. If you implement this, it's going to be like, a couple of tens of thousands of dollars potentially more to your bottom line a month. So, yeah, I've got that up my sleeve and the years of experience that I've got too. But yeah, it's like sometimes it's hard to work with the big clients being a freelancer because the big clients want to work with the big agencies,
yeah. I think
which has its own pros and cons.
yeah, I think it comes down really just to communication. Sometimes they just want one point of contact, but I don't think you should be making a decision on just I've got one point of contact. You should be does this agency provide the best possible results? And I think you're right, Jimmy. The great thing about what we're doing as well is yes, we offer we have for so long offer one specific service, but equally we're immersing ourselves in e-commerce. And even just having this chat every week, we're
Yeah.
constantly bouncing ideas, and we're, people within our network, we're reaching out, we're having these conversations. So we know more than just Google Ads, SEO. We're delving into the whole marketing mix, and at least we can provide some consultancy, which is an added bonus to, even if we're not actually running that service for the client. So yeah, well, hopefully you get it, man. I'm sure you say you're
Yeah, I'll
down
see
for the
how
final two.
yeah, I'll see how it goes. Part of me is like, do I need to bring in white labeling services for different things? Because if I put it this way, if I had Facebook, if I was offering Facebook, they would have already signed. Um, but yeah, it's just that. And I did recommend them someone for Facebook, but I think they were concerned about the creative side, like one person, like managing that. They kind of wanted a team to do the creative, which I can see too. That's fair. That's fair enough. Um, but I mean, at the big agencies, they've probably got one person doing your creative anyway. So it's like,
Yep.
I think with the larger agencies, there's this perception that you're going to have a whole team working on your account, which is very, very, very rarely the case.
Mm. And when it was often a lot of them, they just outsource it out themselves. So it's not
Yeah, or they're or
always.
they're or they're juniors because the agency model's expensive, and like they've got
Yeah.
big offices, massive overheads, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's all those costs are going to come through on your retainer as well. So, um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I often get. I had one client come to me and they said, "Oh, this person's quote was $20,000 for the Google Ads, and yours was like 3.5. What's the difference?" I was like, they've probably got,
Overheads.
yeah, exactly, massive overheads. And like, I do stuff, like, I don't do hourly quotes, but like, the prices that I set basically like around my time and how much it's worth to me. So, I mean, sure, I'm like, hey, if you want me to quote you 20,000, I can. Nothing's
Yeah.
not nothing's gonna change though.
I'll do you a
um,
deal and do it at 10,000.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, if your boss needs something that feels more premium, I'll just 3x the price. That's fine. No, but yeah, I mean, yeah, this particular example, the agency that was working on it was charging them 20 grand a month, and before I started working with them. But I took them on in April last year, and in their search ads, they were running campaigns from November of the previous year. Like, they just hadn't been updated. Like, what the hell are you paying 20 grand a month for? They're like hardly even touching your account. Sure, it was a large spend account, but that's all that agency's doing, just relying on, oh, this is a really high ad spend. But they weren't actually doing anything on the account. And even if they, like, sometimes the accounts don't need a lot done, and you can actually send it backwards by doing too much. But the fact that the campaigns weren't updated from November of the previous year, that just screams to me that it's been neglected.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's great. £20,000 a month. Yeah, yeah, that's daylight robbery.
But yeah, so well, we'll find out next week whether I'm working with that new client. Oh, we might not, because I did the proposal like 3 weeks ago, and they've only just emailed me today after I think they've shopped around a lot, and they've reached out to me again for another conversation. So yeah, I'll see how that goes tomorrow. Um, I really like the owner of this particular company as well, so I hope I get the chance to work with them. And yeah, I'll let you know how we go. Whether the small guy can beat out the big agency.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's always a positive sign. If they, often I found as well working with the bigger companies is they do take a bit longer to make a decision. They have to go through different layers of management, etc. So the fact that they've actually got back to you and they want to speak to you again, that to me suggests that you're still in the running.
Yeah, I think if it was just Google Ads, it would already be signed. I think yeah, the issue has definitely been wanting Kate under one umbrella, and how they're going to manage that. So yeah, I'll see what happens. But yeah, I can understand it from both sides. But from from my perspective, like, sure, there might be a tiny bit of crossover from Facebook and Google, but there's not a massive amount. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, yeah, we're coming up to the hour mark. My light has decided to switch off. I think
Oh, I didn't even
for the
notice.
last two episodes, it seems to have switched off around the hour mark. So
Oh,
maybe
there you go. It's
it's like
perfect indicator of how long we've been. When I go to turn off my light after the calls, it's like always burning hot. Like I have to be careful because like picking it up, because it's just so hot. I'm surprised the thing hasn't melted yet.
yeah. So yeah, if guys follow us on head over to Facebook group Shopify Marketing Secrets. As always, we're always on there. If you've got any questions, and until next time, over and out.
See you then, guys. Take care.